Hi everyone, today we are talking about feminism books. So let's just get right into it. These books may talk about not only women's rights, but also religion, mythology, and other topics that could explain why women are so oppressed. So getting into it, the feminism book. This is the perfect book to get started with if you want to begin feminism or just research more or to just have the book to keep on your shelf to show how much you support women's rights. This book deep dives very, very well into women's rights and oppression. However, it doesn't mention every topic since there is just so many topics. But it's still a great book to have. I'm sure there is many other books that can go along with this book so you could have more feminist history and topics. I feel like religion is a big reason why sexism started, so I focus a lot on how witches were treated and how religion and mythology to this day can be harming society. So because I mainly focus on those topics, I don't really purchase many other feminism books. So having this big book of feminism is just exactly what I needed to have, something to reference for feminist topics. This book was also extremely shocking to read. I think it is just a great example of how people hating witches has led to oppression to not only witches, but also just women in general. Yes, some men were also destroyed too for being into witchcraft or for being accused of it, but the majority of those who were stoned were women, and to this day, many people are scared of witches. Meanwhile, men who just happen to be Christian are doing a lot more worse things than witches who are free to perform whatever magic they want. And I find it tragic that one big reason why witches are not as popular as they used to be is because families, generations of witches were destroyed. So if you ever wonder why some religions are more popular than others, it's because that religion may have taken down witches or other religions to have a higher spot in popularity. LGBTQ. I decided to include this book because being lesbian can also be part of feminism. Oppression towards women around the world is already very awful, but when women are not straight, it becomes even harder for them to survive sometimes. Some parts of the world are more dangerous than others, but regardless, wherever you are can be some sort of threat. Spreading awareness on gay rights and promoting why everyone deserves equality and respect is very important. Personally, I am not straight and have dealt with a lot of harm from homophobic people as well as transphobic and even biphobic people. Some people want to just call you slurs, meanwhile others want to have you hung. But if we learn how to promote love and equal rights, I feel like maybe one day people will just be more understanding and accepting. Remember, just because I want you to support gay rights doesn't mean I'm telling you to be gay. I'm just saying if you are a decent person, then you would want people to have freedom to live life as long as it's not hurting anybody. For some reason, a lot of people think that if you support gay rights, it means that you probably are gay. But, like, even if you are, that's not wrong. I hope that makes sense. I just hope that more people become allies because it's really awful how there's so many terrible people in this world who want to hurt you simply because you're in a relationship with someone who may be the same gender as you. And if you are a woman who is not straight, men may view you as a better target to prey on, which is awful. But next up, this book, of course, Eve and the Apple. One of the most famous stories I'd say is Adam and Eve, but like I said before, religion is a big reason why I think that oppression towards women is so popular. I mean, nobody really cares if Adam even tried the apple. The problem, though, is that people really think, how dare a woman take from the tree of knowledge before man does? And this can maybe explain why there is people to this day who think that women shouldn't be educated, because many still believe women only exist to have children, which is so messed up because men can also have children. But by turning religion into something that controls women, it'd be the perfect way to brainwash people into thinking that women deserve less rights. I have more books that discuss religion and sexism, which I mentioned in my mythology video, and probably my other videos as well, like witchcraft videos. But I could talk about these books forever, since sexism and religion tie so well together. I mean, think about it. Most people are raised to be religious, and if the religion is sexist, then no wonder why people can be awful towards women. People tend to do whatever the religion says, so if religion is so common, it explains why women being oppressed also is. This book was extremely shocking to read. At first I thought it would just explain how witches being oppressed hurt witches, and how maybe it affects modern witches, but instead it dove a lot deeper. People did stone witches for being different, but also because nothing is scarier to men than women who do not obey the commands of men. Women following their own way of life has been seen as so scary that even women who disobeyed their husbands a little bit would be seen as evil or considered to be bewitched. Women who are not fertile even could even be in trouble because women have been seen as baby-making machines for such a long time, rather than actual people. The book talks about how witches being oppressed spawned out of misogyny, but also how hatred for witches and women being free harmed so many people and even still harms today's women. It is just crazy that witches were being burned alive for being witches. Women who were accused of being witches were also burned. And also, by the way, many of the witches who were burned weren't even witches, because a lot of the witch fear came from propaganda. But because people were so terrified of women being free, many different people were destroyed. And it very much was that situation of you are guilty until proven innocent, because witches would be put through these tests to see if they were actually witches or not, which ended up making them pass away. For example, there was this test done where people thought, well, if we put the witch in water, if she survives it, then it shows that she's a witch. Obviously, nobody survived it, so people were just passing away left and right. All because people were terrified of witches and women who are free. Because women who want to be free were accused of being witches. And if you actually are a witch, you too would be burned. And if you are a person who just wants freedom, you too are going away, with them to also be burned. But this is where I say karma kind of comes in, because women were destroyed, but also many women owned cats. So people were not only burning witches and just women in general, but they started to also burn the cats these women owned. So now cats and women were both being destroyed. Except this is when karma hits, because many women were medicine women, and many cats hunted rats. So this crazy thing called the plague happened. And I find it crazy because many Christians say the plague happened because of people sinning, but they don't realize that the true sinners were the people who decided that burning women was okay. So of course, a lot of people got sick from the plague and passed away. But what did you think was going to happen? I mean, you can't take away the medicine women and the cats and then expect things to be fine. But lastly, rage. This book, I believe, is extremely important when talking about women's rights. I feel like women have been told forever to just stay quiet and accept how people treat them and learn how to change yourself to get people to respect you, but that's not okay. Nobody should be staying quiet and settling for less. I love seeing women stand up for themselves and tell people what they want. And I just love seeing women rage against those who are preventing them from reaching their full potential. I just love seeing women protest for better and fight for what is right. Many girls and women are too scared to speak up because of how they will be treated. I was raised to be quiet, and let me tell you, having to bury how I felt for years when men hurt me just made me have way more rage. And now I worship Lilith. But yeah, that is it. Let me know which books you would take off of this list and purchase. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!